Larry here with 7th Stage Law School Prep and another stick figure exam tip. This tip is taper your use of IRAC during the course of an exam. IRAC is, of course, the framework that many law schools and bar prep courses give to structure your way of answering an issue spotting exam. It's issue, rule, analysis, and conclusion. So let me unpack this a little bit. What do we mean by tapering the use of IRAC? It means using the IRAC framework very strictly at the beginning of an exam to show the professor that you can apply structure to your answer and that you know what you're doing. And then as you get through the exam, to ease up on the use of IRAC, to be a little more informal and a little faster to capture more issues more quickly. So why do you want to do this? I've created this totally pseudo-scientific graph. And what this line does is it represents the trade-off between, on the one hand, analytical rigor on an issue spotting exam, which I would categorize the very strict use of IRAC on the y-axis. So as this goes up, your professor likes that you're being pretty rigorous. But on the x-axis here, we've got the speed of issue identification on an exam that also correlates completely with the number of issues that you actually identify. The trade-off here is that the more rigorous you are, the slower your speed of issue identification will be. Similarly, as you move down the curve, you might get more issues, but you won't be as rigorous. So my argument is that you want to start here at the beginning of the exam to show rigor. And as your professor gets tired or forms his initial belief about you as a student, and with the professor, first impressions matter. I think this is, again, totally unscientific, but I've heard somewhere that professors decide very quickly whether or not an exam is a good one or a bad one. So you got to start out strong, you got to start out rigorous, but then you can ease up during the course of the exam, be a little less rigorous, pick up some speed, get more issues. So more concretely, how do you taper your use of IRAC? I've got a couple rules of thumb for you. First, in later iterations of a recurring claim, you don't state the rule in full. What do I mean by that? Let's say you're doing a torts exam and there are like 5 or 6 different batteries. The very first time that battery appears, set out all of the elements in the rule portion of IRAC to the tort of battery. An intentional touching that's impermissible and that's offensive to the recipient of the touch. You do that the first time. The second time, maybe you say the elements of battery are stated above. The third and fourth times you get it, you just say that you see a battery or potential battery issue. You don't even need to say, I've cited the rule above. The second way that you taper, you ease up on the one-to-one fact-to-law matching in the analysis section of IRAC. Instead, you can list facts in the order of the elements. What do I mean by that? Let's say you've got your fact pattern in this cloud here, and the law with elements 1, 2, and 3. This is really abstract. When you set out IRAC, you say rule, you set out the law, elements 1, 2, and 3. Let's say this is your first iteration of this. Then you identify specific facts and you match them to the elements of law that it applies to. Under the light form of IRAC, you might identify these facts in a more abbreviated way. So what does this mean maybe more concretely? 1, let's say that this is battery. Bob intended to touch Larry, fact A, because he said, I'm going to hit you. 2, the touching was impermissible. Bob didn't say want to be punched. 3, the touching was offensive. Bob was actually hurt. That's kind of a fuller expression of the analysis part of IRAC. What you might do with IRAC Lite is just list those here. The elements of battery are met because A, Bob intended to hit Larry as expressed by his telling Larry that he meant to punch him. He actually punched him and had no permission to do so, and that punching hurt Larry. Boom. It's a little bit faster. It saves you some space, lets you get the claim out faster. Notice here, and this is contrary to my general advice, when you do IRAC Lite, you're more likely to provide the conclusion up front. Certainly that's faster and easier. There are some things that you don't give up when you do the IRAC Lite. The first is never to stop nitpicking the crap out of the facts. You never want to lose the keen eye that makes you see issues that other students don't, or to see issues that everyone else identifies, but in a way that other students don't. Second, on close or ambiguous cases, you don't want to cut short your mini trials. I refer elsewhere in other videos and in our 7th stage lessons to the idea that with ambiguous facts, close facts, you don't want to just come out on one side or the other. You want to do this back and forth as if each side to a claim is fighting over that issue. Just because you pare down the rest of the analysis doesn't mean that you want to give up on this where the issues are close. Trim everything else on that claim, but keep this part of your analysis